friends, welcome back to The Green Home. I am Chris Green, and today I wanted to share something really important that's been on my mind, and that's 3 things that we learned during the pandemic. I'm right now in my kitchen, and we have a gallery wall, and they're all photos from a really beautiful time in our life, which was our wedding. And I've been wanting to change that lately, and I was thinking, well, how am I gonna change it? I know I want to make the frames more colorful, but I'm all about themes, so I didn't want to replace the photos with random haphazard photos. Like, I really wanted to put something in the heart of our home, and I consider the place that we gather and eat to be where, the heart of any home. So I thought about the pandemic, and we're running up on the 1-year-ish anniversary of when the world shut down. Certainly we went into a pretty severe lockdown in North Carolina, where only the national parks closed. As you know, I live in Bryson City, which is basically bordering the Great Smoky Mountains National Park, which is the most visited national park in the United States. So it was crazy to see that closed. I didn't want to forget, because it's been a year, and I think it's human nature to get into a better space. Certainly things are getting better with regards to COVID-19, and I think we're moving in a really good direction. I don't want to forget the lessons that we learned during that time, and I thought, what better way than to put this on our gallery wall so that we always remember the lessons that we learned. So the first lesson that we learned was that time is our most precious natural resource. I think during that time, most of our worlds were pretty rocked because we couldn't imagine something like that happening. Like, I couldn't. And it really was jarring to know that the future is not guaranteed. I think we all know that on a logical level, but I think when we're reminded of it it's in our life, our future is really not guaranteed. Time, and specifically how we spend our time, it was never more clear to me than during that time. And what time looked like for us was reacquainting with each other, cooking, going out to the nature that was available to us and that wasn't closed, and being able to safely go out and hike, and porch time happy hours, really appreciating our home and the privilege of our position during that time. We were really lucky to still keep our jobs, to be with each other. We were healthy, knock on wood, we didn't get COVID. So yeah, that was a lesson I really want to keep. The second was that nature is healing. And if you know our story, you know that Jaime and I lived in Miami, Florida, and we were really happy there. We were into our careers, but we kind of felt burnt out, and that really drove our decision to move to the mountains. And not only because of the mountains, though that was a really central part of it, but because of us being able to create a life that we wanted, a flexible life, a life that didn't necessarily have to look like the societal construct that most people, do, the grind, how people would know it. So during that time, we got to go hiking a lot. We got to do more hikes than we've ever done since moving here, and I was reacquainted with the idea that we all are like nature, and nature doesn't need anything, and neither do we. Like, we have everything that we need to navigate our lives, to answer our questions, and to create the existence, and to be what we want to see in the world. And anything that's telling you otherwise is just really good marketing. And I think during that time, being in nature consistently and really not being anywhere else, obviously, really hammered this idea home of how special and revitalizing nature is. And it really made me think about the conservation of it, like feeling really strongly that more people should experience it and what it can do for them personally, like what it can just do for their lives. I feel like that was a really big lesson that we learned. And the last one was simply that we when we moved here to this small town, we had come from a city, and I don't think you need to be in the city to necessarily have this consumption mindset, but we did have that sort of like consumerist mindset where if, Saturday rolled around, we were like, well, what are we gonna do today? And not being able to go out to any of these places really forced us to look at where we don't need to consume something externally to be happy and exist in the world, that it's actually possible to be simply and be happy. And that's really a big principle of living a simpler life. And we've definitely, even here in the mountains in a really small town, what some would consider to be very remote, is still easy or hard to shift out of that consumerist mindset. So it was really beautiful to learn that lesson during that time. As I'm doing this project and I'm going to surprise Jaime, I really also want to hear back from you guys. Like, what did you learn during the pandemic? What was it like for you? What did your life look like? I feel like we were really fortunate enough to be in this part of the world where we could still stretch our legs and go out. And I know that wasn't a reality, and it would not have been our reality had we been in our 645 square foot apartment in Miami. So I'm really curious, and I want to start a dialogue, and I want to know, what did you learn? If I may suggest that we don't forget about what we learned, even though time has gone by, that we don't forget that experience and what it taught us. And I'm kind of an optimistic thinker in that I feel that there's always something valuable to be gained, even from really painful, tough experiences. So what were your insights? Like, what was your experience? And let us know.
There's a message drifting in the air. If you listen, you will notice music everywhere. This bridge is made of hope. This bridge is made of hope. In this world of hunger, war, and strife.
They're slightly crooked. I will have to fix that, but other than that,
You had to mention that. Green.
it looks awesome.